Before you get into the real estate market, get clarity, perspective, and the information you need.
I've been listening to you, and I love your show.
Right here with broker owner Dan Gemis, host of the Dan Gemis Real Estate Show.
All right, a half hour through already. On to the next one, and now we're talking insurance with our good friend Chris Gibb from Gibb Insurance Brokers. It's our insurance segment of the month. Hey, Chris, how are you?
Very good, Dan. How about you?
Well, fantastic. Now, this topic, it's a hot one. Over the last few weeks, we've been having a lot of issues with falling tree branches. Obviously, after the big storm we had a while back, a snowstorm, ice storm, which I couldn't believe how many branches and how many trees kind of took a toppling over with that all that ice. But it's something you must deal with from an insurance standpoint every once in a while, right?
Oh, yes. You know, these ice storms are really what takes out the tree branches. They don't happen as often, but they take out many more tree branches than, say, a windstorm would.
It seems like even healthier trees, I think, lost branches, which it just goes to show you the sheer weight of the ice.
Yep. The incredible weight of that ice will even branches or trees that look like they're in good shape, they just can't handle it. One of the biggest claims in Canadian history was an ice storm up in Quebec. There was so much ice that it took out, electric lines, telephone poles, everything. I think that's still one of the biggest one-day claims in Canadian history.
Yeah, that wasn't that long ago. I feel like it was like 5, 6, 7 years ago, or give or take.
10,
I think
15,
so.
20,
I think so.
Whatever. Somewhere. Whatever. Thanks, Joyce. Who invited her? Now, what is one to do? So, I've driven past so many houses over the last few weeks where there was massive branches falling on their houses, on cars, on fences. What's the tip? Like, obviously, if it falls on a house and crushes a roof, it's a bit of an easier, insurance claim. But I guess, let's start there. If it's on a house, if it damages your roof, what are the steps you take?
Well, the first thing you have to do is you always have to stop and don't panic. If a tree branch does fall on your roof, it doesn't mean that it necessarily creates damage. So you don't, a lot of times people panic and they call their insurance company right away and they file a claim only to find out that the tree never caused any damage to the house. So there was nothing to claim.
Sure.
So that's your first step is don't panic. Take it easy. Don't go out and think that you have to make repairs in the middle of the storm. Wait till everything's over and then go out and see. And we have most insurance brokers will have disaster restoration companies that they work with, that if you don't know what to do, we can send someone out to go and take a look.
Right.
But then, if there is damage, and this is a funny one that people don't realize, if a tree falls on your property or a branch and it doesn't cause any damage, then there's no claim. You have to pay for the cleanup of the tree branches. It's only if the falling branch causes damage that opens a claim, then the cost of removing the branch becomes part of the claim.
Okay, now what happens, Chris, if I've got a good-sized tree in my yard, the branch falls, and there's an issue with the next-door neighbor? It hits the next-door neighbor's house and damages their property.
Oh, that's a great question, because that's probably the one question we get more than anything. So when the tree branch falls and causes damage, that goes under the insurance that covers the home or the fence that was damaged. So if your tree, a branch that's connected to your tree falls on my house insurance responds.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Would they go after my insurance company?
If you were somehow liable, then yes, my insurance company would go after your insurance company.
Okay.
It's pretty hard to be liable for what happens to a tree.
Sure.
Most of the time the tree was there long before we were. It does what it does. But let's say it was a rotten tree and I had sent you 4 or 5 letters saying that it was dangerous and you should take it down, and you didn't do that, then you may have some liability there.
Wow.
Interesting.
Now, the other interesting thing I always tell people, and of course I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not giving legal advice. I'm just, using my experience, that the way I understand things is if a branch comes onto your side of the property line, so we'll continue with our example. If your tree branch grows over to my side of the property line, I can trim anything that hangs over my property.
Okay.
So, I might not be able to cut your tree down, but any branches that hang on my side, I'm able to trim them back so that I can keep them from damaging my property.
I ask you every single month, but any trends that you're seeing in the insurance world that we should be aware of?
It's hard right now. We're kind of coming out of COVID, with all the inflation that we've had with the cost of repairs and everything. We're hoping that the cost of repairs start coming down and house insurance will start leveling off. But just like every other industry, we're sort of in this holding pattern where, there's the costs just keep going up. The interest rates are going up. So we're waiting to see what happens. So as far as trends, it's kind of, we don't really know where we're going right now.
Jeez. Interesting. Okay.
I will say we're starting to see financial results from the insurance company from the insurance companies from last year.
Yeah.
And they did okay, as far as their financial results. So that should not that they ever worry about it.
Yeah, sure.
So that should bring us out of what we call the hard market that we're in. So, they're making money on the product. They want to sell more of it, so prices go down.
I don't mean to laugh, Chris. I'm sorry.
We're worse than real estate agents.
I'm kidding. I feel for the insurance industry for sure. But no, listen, you're right. Okay, touche. Okay, well, listen, awesome, great tips. How does one get a hold of your team if they have questions?
The best way to get a hold of us, if you like, is you can just call the office, 519-736-8228. You can talk to Danielle and Emily, or you can find us online at gibbinsurance.ca, or you can email me directly, chris@gibbinsurance.ca.
Fantastic. Hey, one last question, unrelated to insurance.
Okay.
Chris Gibb, the new deputy mayor of Amherstburg. How's the first couple months as deputy mayor going?
You know what? It's a lot of time. It's more time than I had expected, but I will say it's very, very fulfilling work. I'm really enjoying what I'm doing, and it's very, very fulfilling to help guide the community forward.
Well, good. I'm happy you're enjoying it, and council has got lots of big things. Obviously, the budget you guys just got through, like most municipalities, and now it's just clear sailing. I'm sure, right? Piece of cake for the rest of the year.
I'm sure it's going to be clear sailing. No, we got through the budget, but we got some big things coming up Monday night. We're going to discuss Amherstburg's open air program. We're going to discuss the expansion of the Kings Navy Yard Park. So there's a lot of big things, a lot of action, a lot of good news coming to Amherstburg.
Well, there you go.
Good.
Listen, thanks, Chris. We'll talk to you next month.
You got it. Thanks, guys. And you make sure he treats you well, Joyce.
Oh, he does. He does.
Okay. That's good to hear.
Thanks, Chris. That's Chris Gibb with Gibb Insurance Brokers. Yeah, it's awesome. It's definitely, again, branches all over the place, right? So it's good, some good information to get there from Chris Gibb. Now, before I go to break, I want to remind everybody that Maple Syrup Festival is happening this weekend and again next weekend. It's going on till 4 o'clock today. And I know the Richmond Popcorn Company team is at the Holiday Beach location for the festival. It's happening there and at John R. Park Homestead as well. So pop on out there and say hi to everybody. And it's a perfect day, actually, for Maple Fest with snow coming down. And
it's not too cold.
No. It's nice. So make sure you stop on in at Holiday Beach and say hi to Carissa, our store manager, who's out at the booth for the Richmond Popcorn Company. In fact, we're going to come back from break with our featured business of the week. We're going to give away our Richmond Popcorn Company gift card. And if you haven't already entered, you can enter right now to win $50 by texting 10800 with the keyword movie and your first and last name. Movie with your first and last name to 10800. We'll give that away right after this, right here on the Dan Gemis Real Estate Show.